It looks like, and this is oh, here, I guess we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2025. I am so glad to be here with you all, whoever you are that's joining us here live today. It's currently January 11th. That would be 1:11, late in the afternoon, Pacific Standard Time, actually mid-afternoon, Pacific Standard Time. And I would like to talk a little bit about this coming year, or the year that we just entered into, is in 2025. And more specifically, to see if we can increase the odds of you all being able to have a truly better, richer, newer, more expansive year in this year of 2025. I say this because what often has happened with many on the planet is that they do what I've referred to, and I know others have referred to, as nothing more than a repeat. In other words, they're almost like living their life on automatic, and they repeat from one year to the next year. Whatever their experiences were in the year prior, those experiences are repeated yet again into the coming year. And so this is probably the reason, the biggest reason, at least from my perspective, as to why I wanted to do this. Are we okay?
We're not seeing you.
Oh, okay. So I think you're. So for those of you that are able to hear me, oh, there we go. I guess now we really are live, because now you can actually see me, not just hear me. So again, welcome to 2025. Happy New Year. And the whole idea here on us going live today on January 11th, that would be 1:11, is for this reason and this reason only, is to see if we can help to increase the odds of you really having a better new year, a truly new and different year than that of what you had in the year prior. That would be 2024. My name is Dale Halloway, and I'm a transformational teacher. I'm a success coach. I'm a strategic advisor for families, for companies, for business partnerships. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've gotten pretty good at it. And in this particular little video message, I would like to talk to you about where are you at in light of your own personal spiritual vision that you are aware of right now for this year, this new year, 2025. Where are you at with perhaps a dream that you've been able to identify for yourself that you would like to accomplish or see materialize in this year of 2025? Or maybe it's a goal, or maybe it's a couple of goals, but more specifically, a goal that's really meaningful to you. That it's a goal that once you achieve this goal, it's going to really fill you up with really good energy. Or maybe it's just a set of intentions. Maybe you're that type of person and you think that way, and you think in terms of, what's my intention going to be for the new year? Now, this is really different than just only making a resolution. Most people, all they do when they come into a new year, and usually around the time of New Year's Eve, a few days ago, where they do a New Year's resolution. A resolution where they take a glass of champagne or a glass of wine, and then they toast with their dear friends or family members to this resolution that they're going to make. But studies now show, and have shown actually for quite a few years, by the time we get about halfway through the month of February of that coming new year, most of what they said they were resolved to do in the new year is already forgotten about. So this is what I was referring to at the very opening when you weren't able to see me, you were just only able to hear me. And I was referring to how the majority of people on the planet, and in all fairness, it's just because I believe they just haven't been educated properly. They go into repeat mode, where they basically repeat similar experiences to that of what they had the year that they're to be closing out on, and then repeat those experiences in the year that they're coming into. Well, from my perspective and all the work that I've done with the many people that I've done this work with and for throughout the decades now of teaching or coaching or facilitating, is that unless you and I do something radically different around the time of the end of the year that we're to be closing out. So for us in my company, it's always the month of December. In the month of December, we have a ritual. It's 2 days long. Whenever I work with companies, organizations alike, and the CEO finds somebody like me and asks me to come into their company to do something similar, for those companies or those organizations, I'll spend up to 5 full days with them, 10 hours a day, doing this sort of thing, which is now known as a yearly ritual or an annual ritual. And what we do in this setting, we really take a look at what is the vision. So if it's for an entire company, what is the vision for the coming new year? What are the big goals for the coming new year? What is the dream if it's for us on a personal level? What's the dream for our relationship with our true beloved? What's the relationship for, or the dream for our family for this year? And so on. So this is really an important thing to do. Usually, again, at the time of the last month of the year that we're closing. But in this case, it's still okay. I've always felt that if we can get to this by the end of January, beginning part of February, the odds are still in our favor that we really will have a better, newer, and even more refreshing new year, if you will. So whatever it is, or actually I probably should give you my name. I don't know if I was able to share my name. I know before we went live on the video, I mentioned my name. But just in the event that you're just joining me now for the first time here, my name is Dale Halloway. I am a transformational teacher. I am a success coach, and I'm also a strategic advisor, a life and business strategic advisor. And I've been doing this for decades now, for literally hundreds of organizations, thousands of individuals of all walks of life. This is my work, and I help to assist them along their transformational journeys as a way to bring them more into alignment, greater alignment with that of their own soul self, their divine soul essence self. And then to that, I also help to empower them in that relationship so that basically they can begin to create the life of their dreams, whatever their dreams are, for real now. And I've got all kinds of results throughout the years of helping people in all kinds of different situations. I've helped them to resolve problems that they've had for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and all of a sudden, in working together for maybe 5, 6, 7 months, that problem that they've been struggling with, so challenged with for the last 5 years of their life, is for the first time actually getting resolved, if you can imagine. Or moving them forward with regard to whatever that vision, whatever their big dream is, and so on. So to this idea of what is it that we really want? What are we moving towards? I refer to this as the embracing phase. This is something that once you know what it is that you would like to accomplish, you would like to have materialize, or you would like to consciously manifest in the course of the new year, 2025, then it's all about embracing that, your ability to be able to embrace that. So in embracing that, it's not just, stretching out your arms to embrace it, yet that's a part of it, on a metaphor type level. But it's also to embrace it means that you really are able to integrate it. You really become one with it, whatever it is. There's something so magical that occurs when an individual or a group of individuals, such as a company or a group of leaders leading an organization, when they are able to be the walking embodiment of the very thing that they say they want to manifest. When they get to this place, and whatever that is, that's embodied in their 50 trillion cells that make up their physical form or make up the energetic form of their company or organization, that's always where the magic takes place. That's where the magic is going to be the brightest. You'll start to have magical moments leading up to that, at least in my experience you will. But once you actually achieve that place, it's full on magic. And I have so many people, once they get to this place, they'll say, God, this is like magical. This is magical. Why isn't everybody else, learning how to do this? Our world would be such a much nicer place, an easier place to be. People would be getting along more, and so on and so forth, because people would be happier. They'd be happier because they're accomplishing something that becomes really meaningful to them to accomplish, whatever that is. So this idea of embracing turns out to be a really big thing. Well, what might you embracing? You might embrace, for example, a new way of doing something. Maybe there's something that you've been struggling with in your business, in your career, in your life, with your health, with your finances, and it hasn't been quite working all that well for you, and you're at a place where you recognize it hasn't been working all that well for you. Well, once you come to this place, either on your own or with the help of a coach or a teacher or a guide or a mentor, someone like that, what you might very well identify, I know in my work I often do with whoever it is that I'm in service to, and that is we identify a whole new way of doing something. And once we identify that new way of doing something and that person or those people begin to integrate, embody, practice that new way of doing something, you'd be amazed at the difference this is going to make with the type of results that they just naturally start to manifest. Hey, it might be something you want to have actualized in your world. Maybe it's some part of you. Maybe you're aware of some aspect of your higher self or your divine self, your soul self, and you really want to actualize that as in a form of self-actualization or true self-actualization. Got a little dust in my throat here. Always good to have I say it's a cup of vodka, but anybody that knows me really well, you'll see it's nothing more than a glass of water or a cup of water. But what happens here is it might be something that you want to self-actualize, or it might be something that you want to literally have manifest in your world. That could be maybe a new career path, or maybe you're on a great career path right now and you want to manifest a new promotion. You want to level up. You want to expand your work or your position within that organization. Maybe you're looking for some kind of a new relationship. Maybe it's a new best friend, or maybe it's a best friend. Maybe you currently don't have one. Maybe you have something that you want to accomplish within your family, within your birth family. Maybe it has something to do with one of your kids, maybe all of your kids. And it goes on and on and on. You get to decide ultimately what it is that's speaking to you. Like what, if you could have anything you wanted, if you could have anything you wanted in the year of 2025, anything, what would it be? Now, for some of you, I know where you went right away. Well, but I can't have that. No, that was not the question. The question was if you could have anything you wanted, something that speaks to you, something that's in resonance with you, something that carries meaning for you, what would that be? That sometimes for some people is a really good starting point. What is that? And whatever it is, go ahead and take a sheet of paper and literally jot it down. Write it down. There's something that starts to happen when we write these things down on a piece of paper, partly because we're engaged physically in the process. The other part is when we see what we write down on paper, it does something inside of us. Because once we put that on paper and we look at it, it reflects something back to us through our eyes, goes inward somewhere, and next thing you know, we feel possibly a little differently about whatever this is. We either feel stronger in our motivation, our inspiration, or our deserving, in our worthiness that, hey, I can really do this. Hey, I could really have this. Maybe that's what it is. Whatever it is, something starts to happen of a positive nature when we put what it is we really want down on a piece of paper and then let that reflection come back. All right, so enough on that for right now, the embracing. What now happens, and actually before I go on, I want to mention too that we did our ritual, the program I alluded to at the beginning. It's called Illuminate. We do it every year. We do it in the month of December every year. We used to do it just for our company. And then here a number of years back, we started doing it for the general public. And every year, our audience has constantly grown. From December to the next December to the December after, our audience has gotten larger and larger and larger. For two reasons. Number one, the people that find this, once they find it, they just don't want to let it go. It becomes almost like a staple to them. like a practice, a ritual that now they want to do next year yet again. It just, once you go through this experience, what I refer to as the Illuminate experience, once you go through it, it lights you up. It lights you up like a Christmas tree internally. I mean, it really is an amazing experience. And every year we do this, we have people from the last year coming to this year and so on and so forth. And of course, they want to bring a friend, they want to bring a family member, they want to bring a business associate. And this last year, being December of 24, we did our Illuminate program. It was called Illuminate 2025. So every time we do it in December, it's really for the year coming, even though we do it in December of the year that we're closing out. And so this is our 8th year that we've done it. And our success has been nothing short of amazing. We have so many success stories of individuals that just swear that this has helped them immensely to not just accomplish 1 or 2 of their goals, but many of their goals. It has not only helped them to accomplish a dream that they've had for a few years, and all of a sudden now they start to accomplish it, or it starts to materialize, or that vision they hold for themselves. Bottom line is it works, and it works really, really well. Partly because I've been doing this for a lot longer than 8 years, been doing it for a long, long time, this type of work. And so I put this program together. It's called Illuminate 2025. And when we put it out into our universe back last year, the list price for Illuminate 2025 was $347. We did the class the first weekend of December of 2024. It was done over the course of a weekend, 2-day long class. We recorded it with all of our cameras, and we now have the replay of the actual class itself. And I'd like to offer this to you if by chance this is in resonance with you. It's pretty simple. The offer is such where we will allow you to have access to the replay just as it was recorded in that 2-day class only weeks ago. Everything that happened in that class is all on this replay. We'll give it to you for a full 10 days, 24/7. You can have access to it for only $97. If you want to check this out more, just simply go to whatever's being featured on the screen there. I believe it's learnwithdale.com. Go check it out. There's all kinds of information in there. Again, it's referred to as Illuminate 2025. At the very least, do check it out. Click all the way through onto our landing page where there's all kinds of information on this amazing program. And if it speaks to you, if it's in resonance with you, I highly recommend you take advantage of this amazing offer of only $97 for that 10-day replay access. Okay, let's continue on. So speaking of letting go, one of the key things that allows us to better embrace whatever it is we're to be embracing, it's going to come down to those things, those people, those activities that we really are to be letting go of. Now, this is a biggie for a lot of people. And I know this to be a fact. In fact, I wrote a book on it called Being Called to Change. And my book on Being Called to Change is really all about learning how to let go. Let go of that of which is no longer serving, and literally have that be your pathway into actually growing into your full potential, or helping you to realize more of your greater potential. That's the connector, is that if I'm going to grow into my full potential, if I'm going to be effective at embracing what it is I really would like to accomplish in 2025, part of the exercise here is I need to identify how many ever things. It could be 1, 2, 3 things, but a few things that I know in my bones I'm really to be letting go of. This could have anything to do with something as simple as old clothes, too many clothes in the closet. The type of clothes that, that have been hanging in our closet for the last 5, 10, 15 years. We've only worn those clothes maybe once or twice or 3 times. Or some of those clothes are actually worn out, but for some reason we keep on hanging on to them. That creates space. It fills up our space. We want to be letting that stuff go, because as we let it go, it creates a vacuum for then new stuff to come in to replace it with. It might be just old boxes. Maybe you have an old energy lower pattern known as the pack rat. And you like to hold on to things. Hold on to things. I know I've had my fair share of that as well earlier on in this life. And as it turns out, that hanging on to that stuff that's no longer serving, that's even somewhat expired, stuff that we've never used for the last 10 years and probably aren't going to use for the next 10 years kind of thing, maybe that's what we're to be letting go of. Maybe we're to be just letting go of old things. Maybe we're to be letting go of an old vehicle. Maybe we're to be letting go of an old career or an old project. Or maybe we're to be letting go of a certain way of being, a certain way of behaving, a certain way of acting. Maybe that's what we're to be letting go of. Whatever it is, what I've noticed in my work with every single being that I've worked with, everybody at this time of the year has at least one or two things to let go of. And they know it in their bones. This is not me making it up. It's not me convincing them that they need to let this stuff go. Far from it. What I do is I walk them through exercises. And if you take advantage of our Illuminate 2025, that 10-day replay offer, I promise you, you are going to go through an extensive exercise in that replay, in that recording, that quite frankly is probably going to blow your mind. My guess is you've never done anything like this before, or if you have, you possibly haven't done it to the level that I take the student through, the participant through, all around this idea of what is it specifically that if we were only to let go of this for real, this will create that vacuum. In other words, it creates an opening within your field of consciousness. And by universal law, what that ultimately means, that means something new has to come in to fill up that space that you've now created, you see. That's part of the powerful dynamic here. The second piece I'd like to share with you, I'm going to share a total of 3 different elements with you here in this short little video today. The second piece that also holds great significance in terms of helping us to get better at embracing what it is we're really to be embracing in 2025 is this, and that is to complete something. There's always something that you and I are to be completing come the end of a year, believe it or not. And again, I know this to be a fact because I've worked with a lot of people in a lot of different settings, in a lot of different states, in a lot of different provinces, in a lot of different countries for a good span of time now. I see this over and over again, not just with them, but also my own life. Every year I've got something to let go of. Every year I've got something to complete. Because when you understand how it's really been set up, for the most part, almost everything we experience is not destined to go on forever. There are some things that are destined to go on for pretty much our lifetime, and maybe even into the next, no doubt about it. But many are not. They have their own expiration date. And once the purpose of that thing has been served, that's when we're really to be letting it go, or possibly coming into this next piece around completing something. So what might you have to complete? Maybe it is a project at work. Maybe it's a project that's been left unresolved or incomplete. Maybe it's a relationship that you've left incomplete from maybe 2 years ago. And because of that, that's what's blocking you temporarily from moving forward, maybe into a new relationship. Remember, you still got to create the space. If I'm still hanging on to an old relationship from 2 to 3 years ago, and even though we got divorced, let's say we were married, we got divorced legally and so on and so forth, gosh, I'm sure you've met some people before. Just because you get divorced does not mean to say you're complete with that relationship, you see, or that friendship, or that business partnership. There's work that needs to be done here when those types of things happen that bring us to a place where we can totally complete whatever that is. Maybe you're to complete some learning. Maybe, in life, at soul level, we all have lessons that we are to be learning. And every year, it's one of two things. It's either a new lesson that we're to be learning through the course of the year, or it's a repeat of the lesson that we didn't learn all that well last year. So guess what? It's like school. If you don't pass the 3rd grade, everybody knows you get to go back to the beginning of the 3rd grade and start all over again. Something very similar here. So maybe that's what we're to be completing. Maybe it is some kind of a lesson that we know in our bones that we really are to be learning, but we haven't yet completed the learning. And maybe that's what we need to do in 2025, or even launching into 2025. The idea would be is to get a handle on this sooner than later. Let's take a look at the third and last area that I want to highlight here today, and that is, who do you need to become in order to have what it is you really want? Now, this is a game changer. This is a game changer. I've been writing my next book, which is going to be coming out here in literally the next couple of months or so. And in this particular book, I take a deep, deep, deep dive into this phenomenal principle. It's a higher ground principle, and it's around becoming. I've taught this principle for decades now. I've gotten really skilled at teaching it, but more importantly, I fully have embodied this principle in that of my own world, and I do have the results to back it up. So it's so powerful when you understand why most people, they'll set a goal, and they'll set a goal for this year. They'll come to the end of the year, and when you ask them, how well did you do in achieving that goal, they'll say, oh, yeah, well, I'm still working towards it. And then a year later, if you're still friends with them or associates with them, you might ask them the same question. How well are you doing with that goal? Well, I'm still working with it. In other words, they're not accomplishing it. Well, there could be one of 5 reasons as to why they're not yet accomplishing it. Point is, there's going to be a reason. At the baseline of the reasoning, there will always be this, what I'm sharing with you right now. Whenever we're moving towards something that we view as valuable, we view as something that would be profoundly meaningful for us and even life-altering, life-changing for us. The key, the master key to ultimately achieve that is to become it. Is to become it. In my first book, I did a whole section in the book around the art of becoming. And this is an art. It actually is a mastery. That when you understand magnetically, energetically, spiritually, or based on universal law, which I'm also a teacher of universal law, when you understand how this all works for real now, and you start to integrate it into your own day-to-day world, as in now, okay, so if what I want, for example, is I want a new relationship. And I just don't want a new relationship, I want a different relationship. In other words, I don't want a repeat of the last relationship that I completed, 2 years ago. I really want a new and different relationship. Well, how do you get a new and different relationship? Does that mean you got to go out and buy some new clothes? Does that mean you got to change your hairstyle? And so on and so forth. And maybe it does mean those things. But on a deeper level, it always means something much deeper. And the depth of this meaning has to do with who it is you have become. How you got into the relationship that expired way back when, how you got in the relationship that you maybe are still in process of fully completing to this point in time. How you got there, the major driver is if you go back to the beginning part of that relationship, if you go back to the very beginning, just prior to that relationship showing up on your doorstep, that friendship, that business partnership showing up on your doorstep, up until that point in time, you had become someone. And once you know how to do this and trace it back, you can be assured. All you need possibly is a really good teacher, a good coach who knows how to do this, right? To be able to trace it back to actually illuminate for you exactly who you had become just prior to that new relationship, that new friendship, that new business partnership materializing in your life. In other words, there's a direct connection. There's an equal vibrational frequency of whoever it is that I became just moments before I materialized whatever that new relationship, so-called, was in my life, years back. And so if I really want a new and different relationship, a relationship like I've never had before, or a friendship, which is available to me, it's available to you as well. We could all do this if this is something we genuinely have a heartfelt desire for. But in doing so, one of the most powerful things we can do is go deeper into our own psyche, into the underbelly of our own consciousness, while connected with our soul self, up the central channel of our own inner beingness. And in that, ask this question, pose this question: in order for me to have what it is I genuinely want to have, who do I need to become in order to have it? You'll get an answer. So I go back to the idea of the relationship. If what I want is, for example, to be happily married, and what I want is to be happily married to the man or woman that is my match, my best match, to the man or woman that brings out the best in me, as I would with them, to the person who, when we're together, we just complement each other really, really well. Doesn't mean to say we're not going to have an issue or two. Doesn't mean to say we're not going to have a challenge or two. Come on, we're going to have that kind of stuff from time to time, no doubt about it. But if that's what we want, we could have that. But in order to have that, who will you need to become in order to, number one, attract it, and then number two, probably more importantly than number one, to sustain it, to be able to hold it? Because here's the truth. If I become who it is I really am to become in this process, and then whoever it is, whatever it is, I have a lot of people who come to me and say, well, they want to make more money, or they want to build up their wealth status, or they want to change their physical form and become healthier, more vibrant, more radiant. Maybe they have a health issue they've had for the last 8 years. And they want to get this thing resolved and fully healed once and for all, and they want to do it organically and naturally. In other words, they don't want to do it with medications and so on and so forth. Right? Well, that can all be done, believe it or not. But in the process, have they identified who it is they'll need to become in order for that to materialize and then for it to sustain itself? Now, if any of this sounds interesting to you, if any of this is speaking to you, again, please know, especially for those of you who possibly just joined me here on this Facebook Live or YouTube, a little video that we're doing, a broadcast we're doing, is I have a program called Illuminate 2025. It's a program I've created many years back. I've refined it, I've matured it, I've expanded it, I've deepened it, done all kinds of amazing things. This program we gave live back just last month, only a few weeks ago, to all of our network in our organization. People that have been with me for years on end. This was our 8th year doing this for the general public. We had a huge success in doing so with the many people that took advantage of this. They joined us. It was a 2-day class. And many of these things, or actually all these things that I've touched on in this little video here, this broadcast today, we cover in great detail in this particular course, and then a whole lot more. What we did, we ended up recording the course, and now we have the full-on recording, unedited. It was a 2-day long class. The list price for this class was $347. And we want to do something special here at the turn of the new year, 2025, for those of you that are in resonance with this. And our special is quite simply this. You can have access to that recording, known as our replay, for 10 full days, 24/7, for only $97. Exactly, for only $97. If you want to get some more information on it, just go to learnwithdale.com, click all the way through. There's a mountain of information there for you to do some research on. Check it out, and if it's still resonating with you, I encourage you, I invite you to take advantage of this amazing offer. I know you'll be really glad you did, because it'll walk you through these many different processes to help you to uncover whatever it is you need to uncover around what is it you're really to be embracing, what is it you're really to be letting go of, what is it you're really to be completing, and who is it you need to become in order to effectively embrace whatever it is you are to be embracing, knowing as your dream, knowing as your most important goal, knowing as your vision that you're setting forth for yourself in 2025. This replay also comes with a full-on workbook as well. That's all included. And so do go check it out if this is speaking to you. As I said, I think you'll be really happy that you did. And if, by the way, if this is resonating with you or you're really digging this or really liking this, I ask you to please share it with your friends. Share it with those that you care about. This is something that I'm looking now to do more of in the weeks and months to come here on Facebook Live as well as on the YouTube channel. Here soon, we're going to be on LinkedIn as well. And I'll come on live and spend, 30, 45 minutes with you all. And we'll always have a different theme, whatever the theme is. This theme is on Illuminate 2025. But the next time we do this, we'll have a completely different theme. The time after that, we'll have another different theme as a way to further support you along your journey with you and your friends or associates or whoever it is that, again, you care about, that you are inspired or wish to share this with. So I think that's it for at least today. We've been going here for about 35 minutes. That was my original intention, maybe to spend 30 to 40 minutes or so with you all here today. This is our first broadcast, not just for 2025, but this is our first broadcast going live. We've never done this before. So even though I've been out in the world teaching and putting on different public classes and customized programs for private clients and different organizations and so on and so forth, but we've never done this. So this is something we decided to do a couple months ago. We've got everything all now set up. So this is kind of a trial run for us here as well. We're on our own little learning curve of how to do all this with all the technology and so on and so forth. But we're going to continue, and we'll get better and better at this broadcasting live and as a way to further serve all of you in a way that I know how to do to help you or to assist you along your own transformational journey in a way that hopefully gets you in better, bigger, greater alignment with that of your own divine soul essence self. And so that's really the idea here, that the more of us that are in greater alignment with who it is we already really are, the better off we all ultimately are, or at least become. So on that note, my name again is Dale Halloway, and I look forward to our next time, whenever that might be, possibly in the next couple of weeks or so. And between then and now, or pardon me, now and then, do stay and my aloha.